Welcome to Architectural Engineering. My name is Elizabeth Davidson, and I'm going to be telling you what an architectural engineer does and what it's like to be an architectural engineering student at KU. To begin, I'm going to talk about the difference between architects, architectural engineers, and civil engineers. Architects are the ones that usually design a building and a space to meet a client's needs. They concern themselves with the aesthetic appearance of the inside and exterior of a building. However, an engineer's main responsibility is to ensure the design is safe and meets all appropriate building codes. While civil engineers and architectural engineers have similar jobs, they differ in slight ways. Civil engineers work on roads, bridges, and water systems, while architectural engineers mainly work on buildings. However, civil engineers can also work on buildings. But civil engineers usually work on larger scale projects, including airports and public infrastructure. However, architectural engineers specialize in optimizing the structure and systems within a particular building, often working with the HVAC, acoustics, and lighting systems, among others. Architectural engineers help make buildings safe, more comfortable, and aesthetically pleasing. Without architectural engineers, buildings would not be as functional as we would like and not as comfortable as we would like. Now, you might be wondering how an architectural engineer fits into the overall design and construction process of a building. To begin, the owner of a building would hire a contractor to do the job. The contractor provides all of the material, labor, equipment, and services necessary for the construction of the project by hiring out specialized subcontractors. The owner would hire an architect to design the project, and a contractor would then hire an architectural engineer to build the project and make sure the designs can be safely made. The engineer has to consult with the architect and share drawings to develop a final project that meets the safety standards of the engineer and the design standards of the architect. There are many career paths for an architectural engineer. For instance, they could become a project manager, structural engineer, fire protection systems engineer, lighting and illumination engineer, building surveyor, acoustics engineer, or mechanical and plumbing systems engineer, although there are many other career paths that an architectural engineer could take along with these. There are many sub-areas of architectural engineering that you can specialize in to help propel you into one of these career fields. I'm going to tell you a little bit about each of them. The first one is HVAC, which is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. An engineer working in this field would design and install the air systems in a building, figuring out how big the units need to be, where they'll be stored, how they'll be maintained, and how to evenly distribute air throughout a building. The next is acoustics. An engineer working in acoustics would design the space of a room or building to meet the acoustical needs of the space. This differs depending on what each space is used for. For example, a concert hall has different acoustical needs than a classroom. The next sub-area is structures. An engineer working in structures helps build buildings to code and figures out how the designs can be built to meet the structural and safety needs of a building. They work with buildings and other structures. The next sub-area is lighting. A lighting engineer designs and installs lighting in a space depending on the needs of the space. Again, this differs depending on what kind of space you're in. For example, an office building requires different lighting than a theater. Another sub-area is green design. Green design involves designing and implementing more environmentally friendly buildings and building systems. This is a newer form of engineering, but is becoming increasingly more popular and important. Another sub-area to specialize in is electrical. An electrical engineer focuses on the wiring of a building and its systems. Lastly, there's plumbing and fire suppression. Plumbing and fire suppression works with the plumbing systems in a building to make sure they are safe and function properly. They have to make sure that pipes don't freeze or become too hot. A plumbing and fire suppression engineer would also design and install the fire safety systems in a building, including alarms and sprinklers, making sure they are functional and to code. Architectural engineers often face some challenges. One of the common design problems that they face is that they have to meet building codes, which can vary by state and city. It can also be difficult to meet the desires of a client when the budget is fairly limited. Furthermore, there are often time constraints. Engineering firms have to bid on projects, estimating how much time the project will take them and how much money it will cost. Once they win a project, they have to stay within these parameters because if they don't, they will have to absorb the cost of the loss. Therefore, it is important to stay on schedule and on budget. A big question that architectural engineers faced is how are they going to fit all the systems in a space? Sometimes installing the systems in a building, particularly one that is already built, can be difficult because the systems are big and yet there is not very much space to fit the systems in. In order to practice engineering on your own, you must become a professionally licensed engineer. To become a professionally licensed engineer, you must pass an exam and meet certain requirements. You must first graduate from an ABET accredited engineering program, which KU's engineering program is. Then, you need to pass the Fundamentals of Engineering exam, which most people take during their senior year of college. Next, you need to practice under a professional engineer for 4 years. Then, you can take the professional engineering exam, and if you pass, you are a licensed professional engineer. However, once you are a licensed engineer, you must also have a strong set of engineering ethics and continue to follow these ethics once you are licensed. For example, if you saw that an engineer was claiming credit for work they did not do, and you did not say something, you could have your professional license revoked. Furthermore, you must continue professional development throughout your career to maintain your status as a professional engineer. So, now that you know more about what an architectural engineer does, you might be asking what the architectural engineering program is like at KU. In the curriculum at KU, you will experience a variety of different courses. You will take some general courses that most engineers must take, such as physics, calculus, differential equations, chemistry, and statics and dynamics. You will also take some architecture design courses that will help you learn how to create and interpret architectural drawings and renderings. So far, my architectural design course is my favorite course that I have taken. Although it is a long and time-consuming course, I think it is fun and it's really rewarding to see all the drawings you've made at the end of a project. You will take courses that will give you little glimpses into each of the subdisciplines of architectural engineering, and then during your senior year, you will get to choose an area to specialize in, and you will then choose classes that are specific to that focus. I think that is a really cool aspect of KU's program because you get to choose which area you want to specialize in, but before you even get to that stage, you get to see what all the other subdisciplines are like so you know which one you like the best. Even in your freshman year, you take an Introduction to Architectural Engineering class that will show you a little bit about the architectural engineering field and the subdisciplines that you can specialize in. For instance, this semester we had speakers from many of the sub-areas that came and talked to us so we could already get a glimpse into what each subdiscipline is like. It gave me at least a brief idea of what I am interested in and what I am not interested in, so I know better for in the future. So what's it like to go to KU? Well, to give you a little bit about my background, I am from Overland Park, Kansas, which is only about 40 minutes away from KU. I grew up in a KU family where my dad went to KU and my older brother goes to KU, so I always had KU in the back of my mind. However, I visited other schools, but after looking several places, I knew that KU was the right choice for me. I loved Lawrence and I loved the campus of KU. It also had a great engineering program. I wasn't sure at first what type of engineering I wanted to go into, but after doing some research into the different fields, I decided on architectural engineering because it combines the technical aspects of engineering with the creativity and design of architecture, which I love. I've danced ever since I was little, and I took art classes in high school, so I've always been a fairly creative person, yet I also love math and science. When I found architectural engineering, I knew it was the right fit for me. So far, I am loving my classes and my overall KU experience in general. Some of the highlights of my time so far have happened because I got involved on campus. There are so many clubs and organizations to get involved in, including engineering-focused ones and non-engineering-focused ones. I highly encourage everyone to get involved in at least one thing on campus because not only can it look good on a resume, especially if you take on a leadership role, but it also helps you meet new people and make new friends. Some of the architectural engineering specific clubs include the Steel Bridge Club, Concrete Canoe Club, Women in Design, Society of Women Engineers, Engineers Without Borders, and professional and honors engineering fraternities, although there are many other options. Clubs are a great way to get involved on campus, but internships are also a great way to get practical experience in your field. There are so many opportunities for internships at KU, especially because we are so close to Kansas City. Many people do internships over the summer, but there are also options during the school year. KU does a great job of helping students find and obtain internships by hosting career fairs, bringing in speakers from engineering firms, meeting one-on-one with the students, and sending emails when they hear about an internship students might be interested in. Personally, I hope to do an internship over the summer after my sophomore and/or junior year. Besides internships, KU is really unique because KU has such a large research program. Not many universities have research like KU does, particularly for undergraduates. It is often reserved for graduate students only. This makes KU really unique and a really exciting place to go to because it is so easy to get involved in research in fields that you are interested in. It's a great way to get involved in your field and learn new things about things that you are really interested in. It's also great because some undergraduate research programs even pay you to do research. I hope to get to do research, possibly even starting next semester. There are so many opportunities for undergraduates to do research on campus, so you just need to find something that interests you. After I graduate, I'm not sure yet exactly what I want to do, but I am considering getting a master's degree or going straight into the engineering career so I can obtain my professional engineering license after 4 years. I'm even considering going to law school. There are so many options with an engineering degree, even if you don't want to practice engineering your whole life. That is why I think an engineering degree is such a great degree to get. Architectural engineering specifically is great because it combines so many of the technical aspects of engineering with the creativity of design and architecture, which makes you a really well-rounded person, and that's a great way to enter the workforce. As I finish out my undergraduate degree, I'm excited to learn more about how to design structures and buildings, and I'm excited to see where architectural engineering takes me in the future. KU is a great school and has a great engineering program, especially architectural engineering. I hope after watching this video, you learned more about architectural engineering and what it's like to go to KU. Thanks for watching.